This is the growth ladder. This is your guide of who to hire in sequential order in order to grow your in-person membership business. So I borrowed this framework from Dan Martell and I've rejigged it a little bit to suit our particular business model, which is in-person membership business, dance, martial arts, yoga, Pilates, CrossFit, soccer, football, whatever in-person membership business you run. Tune in for this video. I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step process of who to hire in sequential order that will enable you to grow your business effectively. So first rung on the ladder, on the growth ladder, is administration, an admin person. Listen, if I had to start my business again, if I just went out today and it was just little old me starting a new in-person membership business, I would find an admin person today. No matter what, I would get sweat equity from them and say, look, I can't even pay you right now. I've got no cash flow in my business, but come along for the ride and you'll love it and I'll be able to pay you eventually. I would take an admin person on now. Why? Because you as the business owner, under no circumstances ever should be doing admin in your business. Admin, with all due respect to anyone who does admin is a minimum wage task wherever you live in the world, and some people are built for it and love it. My guess is you, if you're like me or like any of the other owners I meet who own our type of business, we are not great at admin. We don't love admin. We don't thrive on it. We hate it, frankly. Then why the heck do we keep doing it? Even if you've got some of the people in place higher up the ladder, there's a good chance you probably are still doing too much admin in your business. And what does admin look like? Dealing with calendar entries, communicating with your members, answering emails and texts and WhatsApps, dealing with kit, ordering kit, handing kit out to people, organizing timetables. Like, there's all this admin stuff that you absolutely should not have on your plate. Why? Well, you're the owner and the leader of the business, and your time is much better spent further up the ladder. So if you're just starting, get someone in to cover the admin. Even if it's 3 hours a week right now, if you're a tiny business and that's all you need, great. 5 hours a week. Maybe it's 10 hours a week. It's a part-time person. Maybe they're not even paid at first. You just beg and plead for one of your students or a parent of a student to come and help you. And then you get working on building that, and then you pay them when you've got some cash flow. Even if it's that model, that will work. But if it's not, if you have got cash flow, then go pay someone. Pay someone 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, full time to come on and take all that stuff off your plate and then watch you flourish and watch your business change. When I finally decided to take the plunge and commit to this process of hiring in the right people in the right order, my business grew freaking exponentially. The second rung on the ladder is new student acquisition. Now, listen carefully. I don't mean the marketing piece, and I'm not talking overall sales. I'm just talking getting a new student to show up to your classes or a new member and then sign up to your classes. When you're building a business, admin as the business owner just takes so much of your time and focus, and it's quite frankly soul destroying when you're trying to build a business and you're getting caught up in admin every day that you have to do. Then the next thing that takes up so much of our time is that constant never-ending focus on, we get an inquiry come in. Someone likes the look of our CrossFit, yoga, dance, martial arts, kickboxing, whatever classes we run, and they inquire, they send an email, or they phone, or they message, or they reply to an ad. And then that process of taking them from an inquiry through to a booking, getting them to show up and getting them to sign up, that's a mega ton of focused energy. Now, in the early days, right at the beginning, it's great that you do it. You need to develop that skill, have that skill, get the admin person in first if you're a small business. But as you then scale your business upwards, this is the next thing to get off your plate. Get someone in the team who is capable. Now, they need training, they need mentoring, they need a system, they need a scorecard or accountability, like these are the targets and this is what you must hit. They need ongoing check-ins and mentoring. Like, don't forget all that stuff, that's important. One of the biggest mistakes I see business owners make is they give a role to a person, they train them for 2 hours, and then they just think that person's gonna have it all figured out at the highest level, consistently ongoing. Not the case, never seen that happen. It's like a rare unicorn if you found one of them. So these people still need coaching and mentoring and guidance. But when you can hand over this front end part of your business, when you can get that out of your brain space, it allows you as the owner then to step to the next rung on the ladder and keep pushing up, so you can bring more value at each level and work on more important tasks more important things and ideas and concepts, have the creative space to really think about and contemplate the strategy and vision for where your business is going, rather than being over here like most business owners I speak to and being bogged down by admin and bogged down by how to get new students signed up into their classes. And the third rung on our growth ladder is teaching. Now, this is a really interesting one. I have so many conversations with instructors about this. Let me be clear. I'm not saying you have to give up all of the teaching. I'm not saying you have to do anything, of course. You don't need to listen to me. But if you want to build the business, here's one of the biggest hamstrings I see on owners of martial arts and dance and yoga and Pilates and CrossFit classes, is they're still teaching too many classes. They've scaled their business up a bit. They've built a reasonable business. They've got a few hundred members. They've got some decent cash flow coming in. And generally when people come to me and want coaching is because they're stuck. You know, they're burning out, they're frustrated, they're overwhelmed, they've got too much on their plate, they don't know what to let go, they don't know who to hire, they don't know how to generate more cash flow. And ultimately that's, if you stay in that space, it kind of leads to business end very often. And so one of these areas where people get stuck in is just teaching too many classes. I grew up in the martial arts industry a lot, and I saw instructors that would teach 25 classes a week, ongoing, week in, week out, and would have a real struggle with the thought of letting someone else teach 15 of those classes. So they just take 10 on, like a more reasonable, manageable amount. So they've got more time and energy and focus to lead and mentor the team, to build the organization, to build the systems and processes into the business, to grow it, to focus on the vision and the strategy and the leadership of the business. But no, they're bogged down teaching for 25 hours a week, plus travel time, plus prep time, is nigh on a full-time job. Now the caveat, of course, is if you have an in-person membership business and you're teaching every day of the week, and that's what you love, then by all means stay there, please. But probably the fact that you're tuning in and watching me and what I coach on, and you've made it this far into the video, I'm hallucinating and guessing that you probably do want for more, that you probably want more freedom from your business, that you probably want more income into your business, that you probably want to have more impact on more people. And if you do want any of those things, then this growth ladder is a critical process that you have to work through. I'm not doubting you're great on the floor, on the mat, doing the teaching part, but if you end up getting trapped there and you're doing admin and you're focused on signing new members all the time and you're teaching a ton of classes, your business is going to be completely and utterly hamstrung and bottlenecked by you. It will only ever expand to a few hundred members, and you'll never get past that. You'll never create more opportunities for the people in your team. You'll never be able to impact more lives in your local communities. You'll just get stuck there. And trust me, you get stuck there for a couple of decades, it'll start feeling pretty heavy and shit as well. Growth is where it's at, which is why I'm sure you have tuned into this. So the fourth rung we get onto now on our growth ladder is marketing. So on rung 2, where I talked about new student acquisition, specifically what I'm talking about is once an inquiry has come into the business. So speaking to that person on the phone, messaging them, getting them booked, confirming the booking, having them show up to class, letting them try a class, sitting them down, getting them signed up. Marketing, of course, as you know, is the bit that happens before that. It's like, how do we get people's attention on us to want to come and try our classes? So before they inquire, how do we actually get them to message us or pick up the phone and call us or fill in a form on an ad or whatever to actually want to come and do the classes? And again, this is such an important part of the business to eventually let go. Now, of course, as you're building your business when it's small, you might not have cash flow to bring a marketer in, and certainly might not be able to afford a good one because they're not cheap to get a good marketer. And there's real power in this. Again, every rung of the ladder here, there's someone out there who can be more passionate, more skilled, more capable, and just love doing it and get better results than you. And it's a tough truth to take, and our ego often gets in the way. One of the reasons we don't hire people in often is because we cling to stuff, because we're scared, we don't want to lose control, we feel like we can do it better, we're too cheap, and we don't want to spend the money on their wage, all these different reasons. And very often it's just a big old ego hit. Like sometimes we feel like, well, where's my part in the business? Where do I be useful? Where do I fit now if I'm giving these roles to all these people? And the beauty is every time we replace ourselves on each rung of the ladder, we just get to move further up the ladder. We just get to step into the next iteration and evolution of our role and our capabilities and skills, so the whole organization can grow and expand around and underneath us as we kind of tread up this ladder. It's so important. So marketing, another part to get off your plate. Find someone who's good at marketing, who loves marketing, who has a background and a history of achieving things in marketing, and then set them to task on marketing. Give them what's worked for you so far, and then let them go run with it and push it to the next evolution and iteration of what will work for your business. Set targets with them, get them to agree where they think they can take it. Have really simple metrics like cost per lead, leads into the business, whatever your metric is to measure, and then let them loose. One of the best decisions I ever made was bringing in a brilliant marketing manager into my business. It's transformed everything. Game changer. On to the fifth rung on the growth ladder. Just imagine for a second, would you? If you're sat here watching me now, imagine how free you feel when you've reached that rung of the ladder. All those things I just said, there's no admin work for you, it's done. There's no focus on or need to look at new students coming in. Your team are doing it, they're executing, the systems are working, it's done. You've got classes where you used to teach 20, now you only teach like 5, and it's the 5 you love to teach. It's the more advanced people, or it's the kids you love teaching, or it's the beginners, whichever area you love to teach in, that's where you're going and putting your time, and you love it, and you enjoy it, and you're not burned out teaching 20 a week now, you're teaching 5 and you love it. Or you've got rid of all of them. And then you've handed over to marketing, so you don't have to think about that anymore. Can you imagine the sense of freedom in your brain space and how good you get to feel and how you get to let your creative juices flow in the business and step up and play a bigger game? Next part is sales. We often call these upgrades. So selling things to the students, because ultimately what we're selling to the public is to come and do our classes. That's generally the thing we sell, right? We don't sell a ton else outside of that. But once we have students in our student body, we have members training in our weekly classes, then we have the ability to offer them what we often affectionately call upgrades, an ability for them to get involved in something else in the business. So in our business, we have instructor training programs, we sell franchises to our members, we sell equipment and clothing, we run camps like kickboxing and dance and yoga camps and retreats. We've got all these wonderful products and services that we create which bring real value to our members, and we put a price tag on them that we think is fair, and then we set about selling them to our current members. Again, this is a role that when we can replace ourselves in that role, but when you can hand the sales over, again, you find a good salesperson who's got sales background, who's hungry to achieve, who can connect well with people and can do the job, and you set them some simple targets and off they go, with mentoring, with accountability, of course. Then, when you've achieved that level, and there's only one more thing above this, once we've got the sales upgrade part taken care of on our business, there's only one more thing above it, and it's leadership. So the sixth rung on this growth ladder of ours is leadership. And here's how leadership looks in a very basic sense, is actually having people take ownership and leadership of each department of the business. Certainly the rungs on the ladder, we can have leaders in most of those areas. We can have lead instructors. We can have a leader of the administration of the business. We can have a leader who is just all about signing new students into the business. We can have a leader of marketing, leader of sales. We might have an operations director. We might then need to bring in a finance director or something. Once we grow the business a little bit, we might need a CFO or someone in the business. So there's a few different areas where we can designate leadership roles to the right people to oversee areas or departments of the business. That's kind of the first layer of the leadership. The second layer then, and this is where I'm at in my business currently at time of recording this and considering this in the near-ish future, is bringing in a CEO. So my role in the business now is CEO. I don't do admin. I don't do new student acquisition. I don't teach classes. I don't do marketing. I don't do sales, although I do dip into the sales a little bit sometimes as well. We have amazing people who run all the different departments of the business. My job is to be the CEO of the business. And frankly, I'm decent at it, but I'm quite new to it. And you'll find this, obviously, as you escalate up the ladder, each role is a new thing. You've got to get some skills and competence and experience at. So I'm learning what it is to be a CEO at the moment. And I also really like the idea when we're a little bit bigger as a business, when I can afford a 200-300 grand salary on a good CEO, to go and find a great CEO to bring in who could probably do the job better than me, quite frankly, who could take our organization to the next level, which I don't have the experience and skill set to be able to do. So I hope you've enjoyed. One of the things that always comes up when I speak to owners with their frustrations and their challenges is time and focus. Is they are just bogged down in the minutiae, in the day-to-day doing of the business. They're sort of operating in all the rungs of the ladder. They're leading the business, they're doing sales, they're doing marketing, they're teaching a bunch of classes, they're dealing with signing new students up and focused on that, and they're caught up in a bunch of admin. And they don't realize, because no one's really just painted a picture and given them this pathway and process, and they don't realize why they're stressed, why they're burned out, why they're having no time with their family, why they've got a gut on them and putting on a bunch of weight because they're eating too much and they're stressed and they're not getting to the gym and they're not finding the time to look after themselves and they're working 50 hours a week and they're burned out and quite frankly hating their fucking business and not even sure if they want to carry on is when people come to me very often for help. When I finally got hold of this and accepted and was able to let go, and it's so hard, the toughest part of this for you is going to be just releasing and letting go of these responsibilities. But when you have the courage to do it and you set the parameters and trainings in place to make sure that it's done well by people, for the most part, they won't always go perfect and smooth, but you've got to ride that out. That's part of being in business. When you finally let go, and when I did, my business expanded incredibly. So there you go. There's your growth ladder. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want more trainings like this, make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on if you like, and I'll see you on another training video soon.